Well, hello, folks. All right, man. I got a real quick thing to tell you. Or I want to tell you, run down a few things. And then I want to finish off explaining my story and what I found out. But first, I want to show you this. This is for the people in the back. I mean, I'm kind of in a mood today, but I'm hoping that people are waking up. I explained that whole wake up thing yesterday. People have to understand it's not a figure of speech. It's truly waking up spiritually. And but here's the thing that people want to always ask: what's Biden or what's Trump done for this? What's Trump done for these people? I got news for you. The president works for everybody, not just individual groups. Okay, let's make sure we're clear on that, because I don't know why we would do something special for trans or special something for gays or special something for blacks or Hispanics and not for whites. Does that make sense? It's supposed to be all of us, right? And you can try to maybe do something better for the middle class than the rich. Maybe that's fine. We're all in the same boat there. But to have this thing or this entitlement to think that you have something special coming to you because of a group you fit in or whatever. I'm going to post a video later that maybe a lot of you already saw that talks about Africans and blacks. I'm be surprised if some of you haven't already seen it, but we have got things all wrong, guys. Everything's wrong. This government's made us think wrong, made us do things that we shouldn't and say things and feel things. And it's a fucking mess. So try to find God and open up your heart to a new beginning, because we're going to have a new life, new world, new everything. But we got to come together. That's all I can say. I can say that to them red in the face, and unless you get it and stop being bitter and stop wanting to fight and argue, we're going to be stuck. So anyway, so here's real quick. Unprecedented economic boom was a big thing for Trump, right? That was kind of what he was kind of known for. Of course, before the Chinese, as he calls it, Chinese virus invaded our shores, we built the world's most prosperous economy. America gained 7 million new jobs, more than 3 times the government experts' projections. I remember 2,500 is what they predicted. Middle-class families' income increased to 6,000. I've told you guys this, more than 5 times the gains during the entire previous administration, Obama. The unemployment rate reached 3.5%, the lowest in half a century. Achieved 40-month in low with more job openings than job hirings. More Americans reported being employed than ever before, nearly 160 million. Jobless claims hit a nearly 50-year low. The number of people claiming unemployment insurance as a share of the population hit its lowest on record. Income rose in every single metro area in the United States for the first time in nearly 3 decades. Sounds pretty good, don't you think? Unemployment rates for African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, Native Americans, veterans, individuals with disabilities, and those without a high school diploma all reached record lows. Boom! Unemployment for women hit its lowest rate in nearly 70 years, lifted nearly 7 million people off of food stamps. Poverty rates for African Americans and Hispanic Americans reached record lows. Man, what do you know? Income inequality fell for 2 straight years, and by the largest amount in over a decade. The bottom 50% of American households saw a 40% increase in net worth. Wages rose fastest for low income and blue collar workers at 16% pay increase. African Americans' home ownership increased from 41.7% to 46.4%. Brought job factories and industries back to the U.S., created more than 1.2 million manufacturing and construction jobs, put in place policies to bring back supply chains from overseas. Small business optimists broke a 35-year-old record in 2018, hit record stock market numbers and record 401ks. I did know that. Dow's closed above 20,000 for the first time in 2017 and topped 30,000 in 2020. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ have repeatedly notched record highs. Rebuilding and Investing in Rural America signed an executive order on modernizing the regulatory framework for agriculture, biotechnology, products which are bringing innovative new technologies to the market in American farming and agriculture, strengthening Americans' rural economy by investing over $1.3 billion through the Agriculture Department Reconnected Program to bring high-speed broadband infrastructure to rural America. Achieved a record-setting economic comeback by rejecting blanket lockdowns. On October 2020, Gallup survey found 56% of Americans said they were better off during the pandemic than 4 years prior. During the third quarter of 2020, the economy grew at a rate of 33.1%, the most rapid GDP growth ever recorded. Since coronavirus lockdowns ended, the economy has added back over 12 million jobs, more than half the jobs lost. Jobs have been recovered 23 times faster than the previous administration's recovery. Unemployment fell to 6.7% in December from a pandemic peak of 14.7% in April, beating expectations of well over 10% of the unemployment through the end of 2020. Under the previous administration, it took 49 months for the unemployment rate to fall from 10% to 7% compared to just 3 months for the Trump administration. Since April, the Hispanic unemployment rate has fallen by 9.6%, Asian American unemployment by 8.6%, and Black American unemployment by 6.8%. 80% of small businesses are now open, up from just 53% in April. Small businesses confidence hit a new high. Home builder confidence reached an all-time high, and home sales hit their highest reading since December 2006. Manufacturing optimisms nearly doubled. Households' net worth rose 7.4 trillion in quarter two of 2020, 112 trillion, an all-time high. Home prices hit an all-time record highs. The United States rejected crippling lockdowns that crushed the economy, inflicted countless public health harms, and instead safely reopened its economy. Business confidence is higher in America than any other G7 or European Union country. Stabilized Americans' financial markets, the establishment of a number of Treasury Department supported facilities at the Federal Reserve. Boom, shakalaka like a boom. And then you go to tax relief for the middle class. Passed a 3.2 trillion in historic tax relief and reformed the tax code. Signed the Tax Cuts and Job Act, the largest tax reform package in history. More than 6 million Americans workers received wage increases, bonuses, increased benefits thanks to the tax cuts. A typical family of your earning 75,000 received an income tax cut of more than 2,000, slashing their tax bill in half. Double the standard deduction, making the first $24,000 earned by a married couple completely tax-free. Doubled the the child tax credit, virtually eliminated the unfair estate tax or death tax, cut the business tax rate from 35%, the highest in the development world, all the way down to 21%. Small businesses can now deduct 20% of their business income. Businesses can now deduct 100% of the cost of their capital gains investments in the year the investment is made. Since the passage of tax cuts, the share of total wealth held by the bottom half of the households has increased, while the share held by the top 1% has decreased. Over 400 companies have announced bonus wages increase, new hires, or new investments in the United States. Over 1.5 trillion was repatriated into the United States from overseas. Lower investment costs and higher capital returns led to faster growth in the middle class, real wages, and international competitiveness. Jobs and investments are pouring into opportunity zones, created nearly 9,000 opportunity zones where capital gains on long-term investments are taxed at zero. Opportunity zone designations have increased property values within them 1.1%, creating an estimated 11 billion in wealth for the nearly half of the opportunity zone residents in their own hometown. Opportunity zones have attracted 75 million in funds and driven 52 billion of new investments in economically distressed communities, creating at least 500,000 new jobs. Approximately 1 million Americans will be lifted from poverty as a result of the new investments. Private equity investments into businesses in opportunity zones were nearly 30% higher than investments into business in similar areas that were not designed opportunity zones. It just gets better and better. I'm just going to pick and choose a few things here because there's so much I can't read it all. So increased our access to our country's abundant natural resources in order to achieve energy independence. We were on our way. We were right there already, pretty much. Then COVID, then Biden. So he changed policies. He enacted different policies. He cut a bunch of red tape so people could do it. He authorized, the ethanol producers to sell E15 year round. Signed executive order directing federal agencies to work together to diminish the capability of foreign adversaries to target our critical electric infrastructure. Yeah, you see how they started going after that when Biden got there. Resolved the OPEC organization, exporting countries' oil crisis during COVID-19, getting OPEC, Russia, and others to cut nearly 10 million barrels of production a day, stabilizing world oil prices. Directed the Department of Energy to use the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to mitigate market volatility caused by COVID-19. So also, that's just a couple of them. And so investing in America's workers and their families, affordable and high quality child care for American workers. Didn't know that, did you? Nearly 40 million families benefited from the child tax credit, CTC, receiving an average of benefit of 2,200 total credits of approximately 88 million. Created the first ever family paid tax credit for employees earning 72,000 or less. Signed into law 12 weeks of paid parental leave for federal workers. Advanced apprenticeship career pathways to good paying jobs. That's something he's always tried to do. Even with his bankruptcies, you guys go to knock him for that. Those were him trying to save a company or invest in a company that was failing to try to keep jobs alive or try to make more jobs. He was always trying to look out for workers. He's hired every single race. He's hired so many people for his own businesses. I know people say, I've never been able to find where he's not paid people. I know you guys say that's happened, but I've never seen anybody show proof yet, but neither here nor there. So there's so much stuff that he's done, guys. And I get tired of what's he done for LGBTQ? What's he done for poor people? What's he done? You guys think everything's about you. He's done stuff for the whole country that also helps the poor or helps LGBTQ, helps the blacks, help everybody, not just one group. That's where you're selfish. There's this one lady that always said, what has Trump done? I want to know a policy that he's written that helped LGBTQ and poor people. She's annoying as fuck. Let's just put it that way. I wish I'd have had this. I'd have just blown her away. Launched American Broadband Initiative to promote the rapid development of broadband for people in the country and shit like that. Oh, there's so much. I'm just going to burn up too much time. But someday you might want to look at it. It's really easy. The Trump White House archives.gov. Look it up. It didn't take me hard to find it. There's so much stuff. There's more therapies, companies, more clinics to do for mental health. 450 million available funds to support the manufacturing of Regeneron's antibody cocktails, shipped tens of thousands of doses of Regeneron drug, authorized emergency use authorization for the plasma. There's so many things. Yep, we're just gonna have to leave it at that, and you guys can go look it up yourself because you guys really missed the ball. There's another thing, just because you guys talk about that, you don't care about veterans or all that. So he said invested an unprecedented $8 billion in tribal communities, maintained safe access for veterans to VA healthcare throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, and supported non-VA hospital systems and private and state-run nursing homes with VA clinical terms. Ensured, what's that? Maintained safe access. What's that? Basically kept the people. He spent a lot of money trying to keep the old people's homes and the different old people facilities. At one point there did 1.5 million. But you know who ended up trying to take them all out was at Comey, or not Comey, but that other Dougal. Oh, here it is. Distributed tens of billions of dollars to provide relief funds to protect the nursing homes, long-term care facilities, safety in hospitals, rural hospitals, communities, and hardest hit by the virus. Why? What's his name decided to put them all together? So they go, it's sick. And so we're on to my next one. So this one's running long, man. Might have to just do a new one. I didn't want it to go this long, but there's so much to talk about. Let me go see where I'm at, Junior.